Yeah. All right. So this is
Um,
the world premiere, I guess, of Below Below Below.
oh man, I didn't realize because yeah, you've shared like a couple like kind of tease tweets about this game with like just
Yeah.
kind of like a screenshot, but yeah, I guess I really haven't seen much of this in action here.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see what it's like in this current state. Again, there's a little more work that needs to be done on it, but it is a thing you can play from start to finish.
Yeah, and it looks like it's got some hack vibes here. Like I got to pick one of my three warriors here, or one of my
Yep,
three
yep.
heroes or whatever. Let's go. Let's see. Keen-eyed Clady.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Many secrets is
Any
interesting, but
secrets?
I kind of like this. Clady is just a cool word, so I'm gonna pick
Yeah,
Keen-eyed Clady.
I think all the names are Danish. I think that's where I pulled them from.
Okay.
And That's because, as you may find out, this game features a bunch of dwarven adventurers trying to retake a lost clan hold.
Okay, and I'm loving this vibe so far. Just the overall aesthetic and the music and everything. This is so cool.
Yeah, yeah. Joe, like I always say, Joe like knocks like whatever he works on out of the park. But a lot of this, when I didn't really have much planned for story, but when Joe like sent me the soundtrack, I was like, I think I know what's happening here. So I don't often write my text heavy games. Usually, I'll find a way to work with Hadley on those, but
Yeah,
with this one, I thought it was important to sort of uh, give it my best shot to write it myself. So with Cloudy's abilities may need a little bit of explanation.
okay.
So you're actually super good at throwing stuff. So if you click on your inventory to the left, you can open up your items, and you can like whip an axe or a rock at your enemies rather than having to melee them.
Okay. So Clady is like a class essentially.
Yeah, Clady's a well, I guess her class is Tosser.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we gotta pick some items here: shield rune, kite shield, or a pick. I'm gonna get the pick. That seems like maybe something I could pick a lock later or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Grasping
Oh,
our prize, march onward.
it's actually a mining pick, but
Oh, okay, nice, nice. I guess that makes sense,
yeah,
being that I'm like
yeah,
down in these caves here. It is nice to have like the space bar as like the confirm essentially, like even though you're
yeah. You can
otherwise
just
playing entirely with the mouse, just so you don't have to keep like, bouncing back and forth to the confirm button.
yeah, yeah. That was, I mean, that was made for my like ease of use as well. Where I was like, you know what, if I could just go bop and and keep going, that would work for me.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna do a regular attack since they're right in front of me, but so you're saying so if I click on one of these items, okay, yeah, it
Mm.
pulls it up, pull it out. Okay. Quirk, precise toss. Okay. Just give it a try, see what happens. Oh,
Yeah,
little splash damage.
yeah, a little ricochet going on.
Heck yeah. Dang, this is so cool. I love the vibe of this.
How'd you like it?
The
I'm like kind of on the edge of my seat, being like, what do you think?
this no, this music is so good, man.
Yeah, yeah, it goes places too. A lot of the time we do like we do for our games, like when Joe's like, what tracks do you need? I'm usually like intro, level one, level two, boss, credits. Like those are the five like basic tracks we do for everything. Is just like those are the slots for them. But this we sort of he sort of just kind of got to like gently work up to something. I feel it's a little less regimented. It's more freeform.
Yeah. Yeah, this is so cool.
I like it.
Okay, so let's take advantage of some Clady tactics here. Start
Yeah.
chucking some shit around. Okay, what do we got here? Fire weapon, throw, and I got this new ricochet ability as well.
You can also click on the when you've like selected the item and you're looking at stats, you can click on that item picture again, and you'll get like some flavor text and a description of what the quirk on the item does.
Oh, nice. Yeah, throw an object can hit an extra foe for the rock, river rock
Hmm.
with a small enchantment on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. These menus are really nice and like juicy and just like you can't like miss it. You're not like, because sometimes when you're playing these games, especially me as somebody who
Hmm.
doesn't play on PC all that often, like I'm like always like going through menus and like, what am I supposed to click on? What am I supposed to do? I'm lost. Like this is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah,
And
I hope so. I do think this thing needs a little bit more of a tutorial on it to really uh, like help folks out that don't have me like sitting over their shoulder tell
right.
them what to do. But um, yeah, I do. I did have a lot of fun making the menus and stuff for this game, which is like, not something I often say. Uh, but yeah, there's I think the first thing I worked on was that little exploding menu thing where all the items like go to the center and become bigger.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a nice touch for sure.
yeah, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and if anybody notices any like choppiness on the stream and stuff, it's probably just the fact that I'm running this on my computer and the stream at the same time. Like I'm noticing just a few little like lag moments here and there when it like I pull up a menu or something, or when the camera shifts.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a little bit of if you turn on Alt Sync, I think that's F9.
I think it is, yeah, because I turned
Yeah,
on VSync, but I didn't do Alt Sync.
yeah, Alt Sync might make that better. Um, I don't know how all the syncs work. I just know Alt Sync makes stuff on my monitor run better. Um,
Okay.
but sometimes it messes things up for other people, which is why I don't put on by default. But yeah, there's still a little bit of refining to do. I actually exported this game like I was like right up on the wire for getting this exe out for my patrons at the end of the month, and I didn't compress any of the audio in the export, which is why it's like a quarter of a gig compared to like the 20 megabyte versions of everything else I do.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it might be taking up a little extra memory just because all the music is uncompressed and juicy, I guess.
Well, I appreciate just switching to that Alt Sync. Definitely seems like it making things a little smoother on my end.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a weird balancing act. Like I'm using outdated tech to make these games in the first place.
Yeah, and I'm
Um,
certainly not using the the best setup, so. Okay, I'm
yeah,
trying to think, like, I don't know what my best tactic is here other than to just, like, try to brute force my way through these enemies here.
oh yeah. Um, I will tell you that skeletons resist piercing attacks and they're weak to blunt attacks. So you
Okay.
can probably knock them around with your rock a little bit better than other weapons, but you might just want to. You also might want to take care of that mage because the skeleton mage is the one putting the defense buffs on everyone else.
Which one's the mage? Hopefully it's the person the person I'm trying to kill that I'm not
Yeah,
killing.
I think you got this.
Oh, we'll see. I don't know. They're running away. They're making a dash for it. Let's see. I got this wand back.
The super try game, running away is always an option.
I see. I need to not. I need to think about that. Yeah, my thought is always just like, you got to kill all the enemies. It's such a bad habit in like every game I play. Okay, a spear or a kite shield? Maybe a shield would be good. Found a room with a deep hole. Cautiously peered over the edge. I like these. Yeah, these little like story beats, because like I'm somebody who can like would often breeze right through this stuff and like not be paying attention, but because it's like making you make a little decision here.
It's super tough to like walk that line of like if you're like dying all the time, you're gonna be frustrated and you want to skip through and like get through these little sections. So I try to keep them short.
Yeah.
Uh, and also I don't have a whole lot of room to like go on for like lines and lines on this screen. So it's just like short sentences that get the idea across, and like if you're there for the story, hopefully they flesh it out. But I try not to take offense when people are like, I just want to go. Like there are a few skip cutscene buttons later on
Nice.
if you've gone through the game a few times.
Okay, so I got two characters now.
Yeah, so now you get They can get real weird with it.
And now, am I able to switch between them, or does it just automatically alternate between the two characters?
It will automatically alternate, but you can click on Bardo on the in the top left square, or Claddy if they're sort of like hanging out below the health bar,
I
and you
see.
can alter which one you're going with turn to turn. And if
And
they're
then,
close to each other, you can also swap items between them, and you can swap items between characters when you're not in combat as well.
that's super cool. And then is it always like, do both of my characters act, and then it's the other, like the enemy's
Yeah,
turn essentially, or?
yeah, it's always ally turn then enemy turn.
Okay, because I know in Hack there's like different speeds, I think, for different enemies and stuff like that.
Yeah, that
If I
speed
recall.
system took a long time to put together, and
Oh,
I
I
was like,
can't
I'll
even
just
imagine.
keep it simple for this one.
Yeah, I like both approaches, but yeah,
Me
it's
too,
got to
me
be
too.
nice to design like just like, or easy, a little easier to just make. Okay, these are the restrictions.
Yeah,
This is the way. These are the rules. Just take your turns.
yeah. This
Oops.
the way Hack was designed was I was such a big XCOM fan,
Okay.
and I was just obsessed with XCOM and XCOM 2, and I wanted to. The way I kind of made Hack was like as if it was single player XCOM, like it's just sort of you, like looking at the little like percentages and like figuring stuff out, and like that was sort of like the design philosophy of Hack. And this is also fairly XCOM inspired, but I wanted to make it. I want to do something where there are more characters because I felt I could tell a better story that way. So, I like doing the speed system would make it a little confusing. There was actually like a brief attempt to make Hack co-op,
Oh, jeez.
but it didn't get past the prototype phase.
Yeah, that seems insane to try to
Yeah,
balance. Even just balancing it in general seems pretty tricky.
yeah. It basically was very boring because you'd need permission to take your turn every time, and like yeah, it just didn't really work out. And I tried to make it so, and I tried to do like a version where you could control your familiar, and that also slowed the game down. So this is sort of me being like, what do I have to cut out of the game to make like multiple characters feel good? Because if there are too many decision points, if everybody has like too much going on, then it doesn't feel very smooth. Um, but like with this, yeah, it was this was another sort of experiment of how do I make a multiplayer kind of roguelike or a multi-character roguelike work.
Yeah. I like how you can throw the shield as well.
Yep, yep. You can whip the shield. You can actually throw items at your own characters. So if you like throw the shield at Bardo, he'll equip the shield in his hand instantly.
Okay.
So if somebody's in trouble, if their weapon breaks, or if they need to swap out items, you can have another character whip like a sword at them, and they'll catch it and keep fighting.
Nice. And then what happened there when like the screen went like when it was in the dark? Is it because like my flame torch was like not activated or something?
So you both of your characters were blinded in that instance.
Okay.
This boss that you're up against uses a lot of blinding attacks, and yeah, both of your characters were blinded for a little bit, and you just didn't really have anything you could aim at.
Gotcha, because that's a cool effect. But I was because I immediately was like, oh, I have that torch. I wonder if I need that to like actually let me see.
Right, right. Yeah, you got that Cyclops off to the left, and he's casting magics at you.
I see. Yeah, I gotta track that fool down. Okay, let's move over here. Get the shield. Now, do I have to do anything to pick up the shield?
You can if you like click on yourself, there should be a pickup, but you'll also automatically pick it up at the start of your turn.
Gotcha.
If there's an item for you to get.
And then,
also, if you move into another character, you push them, so you can get a little bit more movement out of that. If like you push Bardo with Claddy.
So just your own characters, like you could not push back an enemy.
No, you can push your own characters though, and you can get a little bit more movement that way.
Okay, little puzzle element.
Yeah, the little Sakaban, I guess.
Yeah. Let's see if I can just hack this fucking Cyclops to death here.
Yeah. There's also tango attacks. If you push into one of your characters and there's an enemy like in the same direction, you'll do an attack that way.
Okay, let's try that out.
Yeah, that can be good to set up like little combos and stuff, and keep your keep like your vulnerable characters protected while your tankier ones are on the front line.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I imagine this might not be a game for everybody, but like it was just kind of like something I was really obsessed with, and like it's definitely influenced by the games I was playing, like this year. Like there's a good portion of it that's influenced by uh, uh, Elden Ring for sure.
Okay.
um,
Interesting.
Yeah, just like little thematic and mechanical influences from the stuff I played this year. So it kind of it feels nice to look back on these mechanics, being like, oh yeah, I kind of shaped that from a mechanic from like another game I was playing, and sort of like a little scrapbook almost.
Yeah, this is so cool. So yeah, now we're on to like the next floor, it seems.
Get a little music change.
It's so moody and vibey though. I really love the music, or just like
Yeah,
it's like half music, half ambiance. You know, it's like a little bit of both.
yeah,
It's so cool.
yeah. I think definitely uh, Joe pushing new ground. Like he's definitely a folk musician at heart, but
Yeah, yeah,
he takes to a synth rather well.
yeah. It's like it's so. Again, like you're saying, it's not a game for everybody, but it's definitely a game for me. Where it's like I think I was mentioning earlier, like I love playing games where it's like cursor control only, and I'm just like kicking back on my recliner and hooked up to the TV, and it's just such a nice way to like start my day. Or like I'm just very often in like that specific type of mood for gaming, where it's like I'm thinking a lot, but I'm like not necessarily doing anything actiony, but it's like it's mentally taxing, so it's like it's rewarding to learn how to do stuff and, you know, and beat the game or make progress. Like, I don't know, but I just get so hooked into playing stuff like this, and I could definitely see myself, like, just like I did with Hack when I first discovered it, just like, okay, let me play another run of this. I'm still terrible at that game. I've never made any like real meaningful progress. But I've just always like loved to like explore the mystery of the world and like what happens if I get a little further? What happens next? Or what does this item do? Like I still haven't even fully figured out how like crafting and stuff works in that game, but like the mystery is like I don't know. I don't want all the roguelike inspired games I play to like have that like total randomness to it, but like I do love it when it's done right, and you definitely know how to do it right.
I feel like I'd much rather have my player not under my stand. Hold on. I'd much rather have my players not understand my games, but still like them and have fun,
Yeah.
than somebody to totally understand my game and fucking hate it. Like,
That's a good point, yeah.
that feels better to me, to be like, yeah, my games are like obtuse, and a little, they could be tutorialized better, and they aren't like perfectly polished experiences. But if someone's like, yeah, I only played it for like 10 minutes, but it was really fun. I didn't really get it, and I wasn't good at it. Like, but you had fun. They're like, yeah, it was really fun. Maybe I'll come back to it. Like that's a win for me.
Yeah, I agree. Especially somebody like me, like I just like to kind of experience something that's like original and fresh, whether it's because of the art style or the mechanics or the whatever the reason. There's a million reasons why something I might be compelled to want to play it, but this is kind of checking all the boxes for me. Like it's got the aesthetics I like. It's just got a little bit of everything that I enjoy, and I'm just so glad that because honestly it really is stuff like it was finding stuff like Downwell and like games that take roguelikes, basically just strap like the roguelike permadeath aspect of things like onto like an arcade game, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. But then once I discovered stuff like Hack and stuff that like took a more direct inspiration from like the traditional roguelikes, for lack of a better term, I'm just like, okay, this is like, okay, what does this repair kit do?
That was sick, by the way. That rock throw that killed 3 slimes. That was awesome.
Yeah, that ricochet. I'm
Yeah.
really glad I ended up going with that. So repair kit. Will this bring Bardo back to life here?
Bardo's good. As long as you make it through the level, Bardo will come
Ah.
back with a little bit of health.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. The repair kit will repair your weapons. So you see how all the weapons have like a little number next to them?
Ah, I was thinking that was how much damage they did. Okay.
No, so that's how much health they have essentially. So
Okay.
you can slap a repair kit onto an item you like, and it'll have more health and it won't break as easy. But
Nice.
but once a weapon or item breaks, it turns into a repair kit. So
Okay.
this is sort of how I get people to eat their vegetables in my games. Like you might really like the dagger, and like you only want to play the dagger. But like if you only use the dagger, then your dagger's gonna break. So maybe like you put the dagger down for a second and you try out like the axe or the sword or the knuckles or something like that. And you try something that you wouldn't normally try. Like that's what Breath of the Wild tried to do with its like weapon durability system that was very controversial.
Yeah.
But and I think the like idea of get players to mix up their play styles and they'll have more fun. That's a good idea, and we should be doing stuff to get players to mix up their play styles, because doing the same thing over and over and over again maybe isn't the best way to spend your time.
Especially for a roguelike, yeah. Like the reason I loved stuff like Downwell so much is because like you just kind of have to embrace whatever power-ups you get, and you're just like, okay, well, I guess I got the spread shot, so I'm rolling with that, or I guess I didn't get the health pickups. Okay, I'm just loading up on ammo and
Yeah.
guns blazing.
Yeah, it's yeah, Downwell really gets you to break out of your ruts, and it teaches you at the same time.
Yeah.
Downwell's fantastic. Another very inspiring dev for my money.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I still need to play that new game of theirs, P or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, I forgot they dropped something new. That's great.
It's like you have to like have Netflix to play it somehow.
Oh,
but so I'm like,
that's
oh,
why I haven't played it yet.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think you can play it on mobile, but you have to like log in with a Netflix account. So I'm like, I guess I won't be playing this anytime soon. Hopefully it'll be a timed, like it'll end up making its way to other platforms eventually.
Right.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, is this some dynamite? Oh, it is.
Yeah. Oh, you got some dynamite.
So Bardo can throw stuff too?
Yeah, Bardo can also throw items. Claddy is just very good at it because she's got the ricochet ability. So,
I see.
But Bardo's got some TNT, which you can use to like blow up dudes. Yeah, and Bardo starts with the pick. Bardo also has some like every time you like get through a combat, you'll always have the option to get meat and heal up again. So Bardo's sort of like the cleric healer, I guess, but it's just sort of a mining union man.
Okay, and then so like, am I able to then equip a different item to attack with? Yeah.
Yes.
Equip main and equip off. How cool is that?
Yeah, so there are no like critical hits in this game. You just have your main hand hit chance and your offhand hit chance, and sometimes you can hit both.
How cool is that?
This is my little subversion of the genre that I'm following pretty closely otherwise.
No, that's cool. And it's like, yeah, you don't need to break the mold necessarily. Like every game doesn't need to be a total reinvention of the genre or whatever you're doing. It's like, okay, just take some little inspirations, put your own, twist on it, and
yeah, that's really it. Like, I don't think. I think people are unique enough. You can sort of make a thing in a genre, and as long as like you're an interesting and opinionated person, you're gonna make a unique game that's gonna stand on its own.
That's a good way to put it. Again, I always love your perspectives on things. Like, I don't know, I feel like making games like is like almost like a really good, like, I don't know, just like exercise in just like human nature, analyzing like human tendencies and stuff.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, just like you make a game and you think like, oh, this is a ton of fun, and then you watch people play it like, why are they doing that? What are they,
Exactly.
what is these aren't the mechanics? This isn't the game I made.
Uh, so you actually have to use the dynamite, not throw it. So
Oh, okay,
you
because
threw
I threw
you
that
threw an
earlier.
unlit stick, yeah.
Yeah, I threw that one earlier and I thought it worked, but yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, that's a use versus a throw.
Okay, okay. Let's move over here.
You're doing rather well though.
Yeah, I feel like I'm having a pretty good, like, lucky, successful run here for a first
Yeah,
attempt.
yeah. This is good data for me. I don't want anyone to have to play an easy super try game. Why would I inflict that on populace?
Yeah, we can't have that. We definitely can't have any of that. And I like, yeah, the throwing. That was a thing I did a lot in Hack too. Just like, oh yeah, it's a nice way to
Mm-hmm.
chip away at this. But yeah, I like how Renaud's saying like, yeah, it's a little more like methodical and like it's like a little puzzly, like strategy puzzle, like just puzzly in the sense that like your every decision matters. You know,
Yeah,
it feels to me at least.
yeah. Randomness is not so deep in this game. It's obviously an element of this game because there's a to hit chance and all that. But
Yeah,
it's really more knowing what is possible in each moment and figuring out the best thing you can do. At, all that's left to do is find out what to do with the time that's given to you. It's the,
yeah, and even just like, okay, do I want to press on? Do I want to rest?
yeah.
Get a nice little extra story beat here.
Yeah, yeah, I love that scene. So that little moment is I'm like, I need another scene, and I'm like, oh, I'll just do like every character because you have a two-person party at this point. Every character combo gets their own little scene if you rest there, and
Oh, that's
it doesn't do anything. There's no mechanical benefit to resting rather than pressing on. It's just here's a nice little moment between two characters.
I love that little touch because yeah, it's like or if you're like I don't know if you're able to like pick up a run that you started in this or whatever, but like if you're like
Yeah,
okay, yeah, this is maybe a good spot to leave it. So like let me get the beat and I'll pick this up next time I play or whatever, you know, or either way, or if you're chipping away at your run still, it's just a nice. It's
yeah.
always nice to have a little break in the action, or even if it's not action per se, but just breaking up the pace a tad.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, it's just everything is pacing. Everything is like combining moments of like high action with moments of chill action.
Yeah, and now is there a way to like check and see how much like health a enemy has left?
Nope, you just gotta kind of feel it.
I love that. I love that.
I also love that enemies you haven't seen yet just like go nuts on the debris. You'll
Yeah.
see like a bed fly out from the shadows as it's being shattered.
Yeah, I like just the way like the fog of war and stuff is working here is just pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun to like have that like XCOM squad sight or whatever. So like, even though like that goblin on the left is all the way out of Claudia's vision, she can kind of communicate with Bardo and get like a shot in from downtown potentially.
Yeah, I just took one from over there, just like okay. Hail Mary.
Yeah. I love those moments. I love those moments of all I guess.
Like, okay, I'm kind of against the wall here. Let's just see what happens if I do this. And like, oh, it ricocheted off like 4 enemies. Okay, nice.
Yep, yep.
Got kind of lucky. Oh, Bardo's dead though. Shit.
Rip.
Bardo.
Got this probably. Probably.
Oh. That was not expected. I'm definitely dwindling on well, I think there's quite a few items still on the screen if I can just get to them.
You're out of stuff to throw.
Oh no. Okay, let's see. Oh no.
It used to get darker as you lost health. That was a mechanic I tried out where like your little vision's like radius would go down as your health went down.
Yeah. This is awesome.
but I think it's hard enough. I'm glad you're having fun, man.
I'm having a blast. I do need to. My keyboard doesn't have any lights on it, and it's getting dark, so I just need to turn on some lights because I can't see all of a sudden. I'm like, I keep looking at like, even though it's just spacebar, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
now
yeah,
this
yeah.
menu just booted up, or I went back to the main screen, and it's like back to this like mobile formatted version. So give me
I'm
one
glad
sec.
I'm glad the game over screen
Let me
works.
just pop this light on.
Ooh,
Okay, that should be a little better here.
nice.
Oops. Sorry to just smack my head into the microphone there, though.
All good.
Gotta
Ooh, I might have
love.
to rework that game over screen because now we've booted all the way back to the very, very beginning.
Well, I
I just
I hit main menu, so I
ah
don't know if that had anything to do with it.
yeah, I might tweak that around a little bit.
Okay, because yeah, let me go back to this. Let me go back to the alt sync. Or no, alt sync's on, V sync on as well.
Yeah, your settings should be preserved, I guess, but it might have.
I somehow turned off the V sync. Okay, there we go. Back to the right window. Okay, we should be good. Okay.
Nice, nice.
All right, a little below, round two.
Yeah, let's give it another run.
Yeah, I'm seriously like really into this game. I'm liking I'm liking that I'm having you to like give me a few tips along the way, but I'm really liking the like just kind of mysteriousness. Um, okay, do I want Trudel Iron Gut or Nud of Many Secrets? I think I want Trudel.
Oh yeah, Turtle is very, very fun.
Okay.
One of Turtle's abilities is when you wait, you do a war cry that buffs your allies.
Okay.
So you can kind of do that to buff yourself up before a little skirmish.
Yeah, I like how you build up your party is just such a cool
Mm.
like touch. I don't know. I love the pixel art in this game. Like it's
Thanks, man.
I really love it. It's got such like again, it's like you were saying earlier. Like it's like the lack of color
Mm.
really makes that like pink just pop so nicely.
Yeah, it's like um, growing growing confident with less saturated colors has been a bit of a journey for me. If you look at Hack, like Hack is like, you know, it's got a fairly okay mix after like a lot of work, but the first few like screenshots of Hack, everything is like so blown out and so saturated because I was like, I just want bright colors because those are good.
Yeah, it's almost got
And
like a ZX Spectrum vibe.
right, right. And I'm kind of just now like being able to be like, you know, games really benefit from having like a brown and a gray.
Yeah,
And
I
then
like this black and gray. Like it's got a little Blink Blanc vibe to it a
yes,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah. Blink Blanc definitely. Um, that was sort of me like testing like those colored palette rules I set for myself of like five colors: one's black, one's white, one's gray, one's brown, and one's a bright color. Uh, this this game actually has six colors because I have the yellow and I have the reddish pink.
Nice.
But yeah, limiting that color palette. It's just once you find your color palette and you make it like as limited as you can, everything just becomes so much easier. I guess if you're me, you might be different. Like everyone's different, art's complicated, but like for me, like getting the resolution down, getting the color palette down have always helped me when I make games.
Yeah, they always say like I feel like I've heard it a million times, but like the limitations like
Mm,
breed creativity because you're just like, okay, well I have to work within these constraints. So like and
totally.
I don't want to just do something that's been done a million times before. So how can I add my own touch to this, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot about knowing yourself and knowing like what you like to do, like what gets you excited to work on the project. Because if you just do what you think everyone wants, or like what you think will like like make the game popular or whatever, you're probably gonna hate it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. I do like how every enemy explodes when they die in this game. I was gonna go a little more in depth with the death animations, but I had a lot of fun making that little explosion.
It's a
So
nice explosion. It's a really
yeah,
nice explosion.
yeah. Every Super Try game gets like one like from scratch explosion, except for all the times I recycled explosions
Hey,
in the newer games.
you gotta recycle some stuff.
Yeah, I think the explosion in Ion Smoke got recycled in Hot Soul Laser Beam with the color swapped, and then I recycled it again in Bazooka Panic. So like that one explosion animation got like a lot of traction.
Nice.
Yeah, for whatever, because I needed an explosion now, and first idea, best idea.
Yeah. So does it auto equip weapons to your offhand after you throw one, or do you have to re-equip a weapon after that?
Yeah, so when you throw an item and it's left on the floor, you'll auto pick it up at the end of combat. And if your left hand's empty and you pick up an item, it'll just slap it in your left hand.
Okay. But what about if I throw an item that I already have equipped? Do I then
You
have an empty hand after that?
you will then have an empty hand. Yes.
Okay. Nice. Very cool.
I love that you whipped that magic rune, dude.
Hey, you gotta do. Sometimes you just gotta chuck whatever you got, man. I'm just like I can't afford to waste a move right now. Like I don't want to use a turn on moving. So let's just what can I chuck? That's I do keep reading these as like damage points though.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh yeah, 15 damage to throw it.
Yeah, actually, damage as a stat is pretty constant between items. Like, like there's like a high damage tier, a mid damage tier, and a low damage tier. But
Okay.
they're pretty close. You can kind of, it's just like they're close enough to feel, but like an axe and a mace, I think, are in the same damage class, and they do the same amount of damage. They
I
just
like
have different other things going on.
Yeah, I like when it's more like kind of class based, or yeah, more like you're saying, where it's just like, okay, here's like light damage, heavy damage, medium damage.
Yeah, because I don't want to keep you on that menu screen forever.
Exactly, because even for me, like even playing like we were talking about Blink Blanc earlier, like even a Metroidvania, I feel like a lot of times I'm just like map, inventory screen, map. Like I never like playing the game, so like playing something that you can kind of fully internalize the area like you can in Blink Blanc, and like okay, I remember going over here. You like even I think there is a map in the game, but like you don't necessarily need it per se.
Yeah, that's why the mini map in Hack you have to hold down the button in order to look at it, because I didn't want people playing the game through the mini map.
Yeah, that's another game really impressive with the controller support on that game. Because at first I was like, oh, it's mouse. I'm gonna have to figure out a setup. And I was like, oh wait, this is actually really well mapped to the gamepad. Like really well thought out. I feel.
Yeah, that's just having time. Honestly, having time to think.
Yeah, but it's not easy to do with like turn-based, grid-based gameplay like that for it to feel quick and snappy. Like, it's not easy to do, so it's very well done.
Yeah, that was kind of me like following the beat of my own drum on that. The controls in this were inspired by Tangle Leap, which sort of has you for its controller like you sort of like have the square that you're gonna move to when you commit to the move, but you also can kind of like analog stick around and pick direction to go in. And the devs behind that were like really cool with sharing their process on coming up with controller options for that game. And I think people just like controller support. Like it should be more of a it should be more considered, I think, the alternate control schemes, because it really does open more people up to your game.
Yeah, or having, again, I know, I understand that, like, not every game can accommodate every control scheme and whatever, for sure. Like, some games are just like, okay, like, there's really not an ideal way to play this without, like, twin stick controls or without a mouse or touchscreen or whatever. Like, there's definitely times where you just can't do it, but yeah, any way you can accommodate, like, more people being able to play your game, I feel like if you're able to do it, yeah, why not? Easier said than done, of course, obviously.
It's a lot of work and you need time. And you need to be able to like take a break and like have other people play your game and listen to their thoughts on it. Like one of my friends, Paul, was playing like an early version of Hack, and he's like, I keep trying to do it like I keep trying to do the menus like Diablo does menus. I'm like, okay, how does Diablo do menus? And he's like, right click backs you out of everything. It's brilliant. Why am I not doing that?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so in Hack, right click just backs you out of pretty much everything. Like you can just like mash right click and be like right back on the action screen whenever you want. And that was a really important piece of feedback that I'm not a huge Diablo head. I've played it like now and again, but like
Don't even get me started on how much I hate Diablo. we've gone into it on the podcast a few times. I've tried to get roped into playing a few runs of that. I'm just like, I don't have the patience. Again, just digging into menus nonstop. I'm just like, it's just frustrating to me.
there is a jam, and I hope it's still going, because I think it's a great idea. It's called Fuck This Jam, and the idea of the jam is you're making a game in a genre you hate.
Ooh, I definitely like that.
So if you hate sports games, you make a sports game. If you hate like looter RPGs, you make a looter RPG. You just you have to make a game. You have to try to make a good game. I think it's implied in a
Okay.
genre that you detest. And I haven't done that jam yet, but like that idea of it's very valuable to look at the games you don't like to figure out new ideas for the games you're making. Like, I'm not big into Sonic the Hedgehog, but another one of my game dev friends, Dave, they were talking about like the good like ideas that Sonic has and sort of laying them out in a thread. I'm like, this is really valuable. Like these are like good ideas, but they don't gel for me when I play Sonic.
Yeah. Oh, did you say that was Dave, the Mixolumia dev? Because I think
Yeah, yeah,
I
Dave
might have
Mix.
seen that thread as well. Yeah.
Yeah, they put together this great thread on Sonic the Hedgehog and uh, design lessons that can be learned from it and how it was like blazing a trail in certain ways.
I had the
And
same thought when I saw that thread because I was like, I hate Sonic games, and then I read the points that
yeah,
Dave was
yeah,
making, and I was like, wait, but this would all be cool in games. Like, I'm down for every idea that Dave has here. I just
exactly.
hate Sonic games, or I don't hate them, but I do find them to be pretty frustrating to play usually.
Yeah, me too. And you know, I have like a lifelong Super Nintendo bias, so I never really
Me
had a
too.
whole lot
Yeah,
of
we're definitely coming from the same background there.
I never really had a whole lot of experience playing Genesis, except at the bad kid's house.
Exactly. My friend Josh had one growing up, and although I was always jealous that he had the X-Men game, and I was just such a
Oh
diehard
yeah,
X-Men fan, and I was like, oh man, they don't have a good X-Men game. I had Spider-Man and the X-Men on Super Nintendo, but it wasn't very good.
yeah, yeah. I think I had the Tick for Super Nintendo. That was my superhero beat 'em up. They were all pretty much the same. But
Yeah, they definitely churned them out. There were a few good ones here and there, but they
yeah,
definitely churned them out for sure.
yeah,
Okay, let's use this repair kit on this cutlass here or whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's one of my favorite mechanics in the game is when you hit a slime with a slashing attack, it divides into two enemies.
I was wondering, I was like, am I slicing them in half, or is that like an enemy that was stacked on top of it? I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, just another one of my favorite little hidden mechanics is they're weird. If you hit like one of those claymen with a fire attack, or the mud guys, if you hit them with a fire attack, they'll turn into a clayman and have better defense or whatever. Just like little
Ah,
interactions were a driving force of the design for this. That you know, they might be like weird or confusing, but they follow a certain logic.
I like it. I like how this weapon that I have right here, like this sword, it seems like when I
Mm.
attack enemies, like we trade places with one another,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
really cool.
yeah. You can kind of like push forward with it, and like when enemies hit you with it, it kind of like messes up your plan because suddenly you're in the thick of it. Like, yeah, there's lots of like cool stuff going on, and if you throw the sword, you'll also lunge forward as well.
Ah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
That kind of
yeah. So
reminds
that
me, there's this new game that just came out called Undergrave that's all about, like, it's kind of like a turn-based, top-down, roguelike grid system like this, but yeah, it's all about, like, throwing your sword around and, like,
oh
having
cool,
it
yeah,
teleport you around the screen. It's a really, really cool game.
I think I know Undergrave. Do I know that dev?
It's the develop. I think they go by like Wired Dreams Studios, but I think their name is
Okay.
like Thiago
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oliveira or
yeah.
something. They've made quite a few games that all use kind of similar mechanics. Like it almost is like
Mm,
they just like take like, okay, here's an idea, and I'm just gonna like explore it to the nth degree in the best way.
mm,
Like I don't mean that to be dismissive at all. It's like, let me take this. It's kind of a lot of their games use like the input where you press like up, down, left, or right, and you'll like move all the way until you hit an
mm.
obstacle, kind of that kind of gameplay mechanic. But they've like
Yeah.
explored it in so many different ways where it's like, oh man, this is just brilliant.
That's cool. Yeah, I love that dev.
Red
Yoga does a lot of really
Ronin,
cool. Yeah,
Raven's Hike.
so many good ones. So
Yeah,
many good.
they're working on a game right now called Frog, which is coming
Yes.
out,
Yeah.
and that's one of my most anticipated games, like on Earth. Okay, so okay. Oh no, who received the dagger? For a second, I was like, am I adding a third member to my party here? I saw discard, and I was
Dagger's
like,
like
wait,
the
I can
third member.
discard a party member? How do I? That doesn't seem right.
It's that reading comprehension will
Yeah,
get
I'm
you every
like,
time on stream.
I know, especially when I'm like talking at the same time. I'm so bad about that on streams. I'm like, oh, I just
Dude,
breezed right through that tutorial. Whoops.
no one's good at it. Like having to like think about chat and having to keep the game mechanics in mind and having to keep a conversation with me. Like they like by the time you get to like actually reading the text, it can be a lot going on up there.
Yeah, I definitely understand why like some people when they stream they like kind of read out the text as they play. I'm just too
Yeah.
self-conscious to do that. I'm just like, I don't have the patience, or like I
Yeah.
feel like I cringe in my mind. Like I don't cringe when other people do it, but when I think about me doing it, I'm just like, oh, it's just cringe. I can't.
Yeah. I've mostly gotten over the cringe at my own voice from like having to edit myself
Same.
on podcasts.
Same,
But
yeah.
like there's still stuff that I'd just rather not do.
Yeah, no. Okay, I can attack. Is this a bed?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Furthering the Super Try tradition of no one can sleep in the beds in my games.
I love it. Yeah, somebody mentioned when we were playing Outfoxed earlier. I forgot to.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned it, but they were like, "I love the storytelling with like the bottle of wine next to the bed on one of the stages."
Yeah, that was like we were like a month and a half into the pandemic, and there was definitely a whiskey bottle by my bed.
Oh,
at
I was definitely there myself,
that
big time.
Oh, yeah.
I really love how like equipping an item or switching items like takes a turn as well, but it doesn't feel like it's like it's not. I don't know. You have enough health where you're not like, okay, every little last decision is like, make or break this run. It probably does, matter more than I'm maybe playing a little too loose, but like, I don't know. It just feels like I've done some things where I'm like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that, but it didn't like totally just kill my run.
Yeah, you can have a bad time if you're surrounded by dudes and you have to swap weapons. Like that can go like not very well for you. But
Yeah, like it's not looking too good for Trudel at the moment here.
Trudel likes being in the action. I feel Trudel's gonna make it.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I might be able to salvage this here. Man, but that skeleton with the shield is blocking all my
Yeah.
attacks. What were you about to say? I didn't mean to cut you off there.
I like that you're into it now. Like you're forming your tactical opinions.
Yeah. No, this is really cool.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's it's a little weird. I'm often like very much in my own head because like my patrons are like really supportive and they love my stuff, but like I'm like, are they just being nice to me because they're already giving me money? But it's nice to hear, and it's like this is just everything I wanted to be playing.
Yeah.
It's just a little like bite-sized tactics game where like there are lots of decisions to make, but it's not like if you die, it's a short game, so it's not going to be like you're sent all the way.
Yeah, and there's not like those like huge like overarching like extra layers of like, oh, I gotta like
Right.
after I died, now I gotta spend the resources I gained and earned, and like just like, oh, did I do that right? Did I make the right decisions? Like you're just always thinking like games that at least for me, I have crippling indecisiveness, like even when it just comes to picking what game I want to play half the time, let alone what I want to do in the game, so like Yeah, when you throw like, okay, do you want to build a town? Do you want to upgrade the infirmary? Do you want to upgrade this? Do you want to do that? Yeah, I'm just like, what? I don't even know what these mechanics do yet, let alone. And that is the fun sometimes, is exploring those mechanics. But
yeah, and I am an XCOM fan, self-described. So like I do love like a complex like web of different mechanics going on, and Ion Smoke has that too, where there's like the strategy layer and the action layer or whatever. But like, sometimes like you just want to play like one like kind of like intense sort of experience and not like 50 intense experiences.
right. That's such a great way to put it.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I feel like every time we talk, I'm always like, yeah, well, obviously you've made a ton of games that you've just thought about the process and like, yeah, what makes a game interesting, what makes it good, what makes you want to come back and replay it again, what makes you want to, especially for a roguelike, you really have to think of like, what's going to make somebody want to keep coming back to this again, or like, what's going to make the beginning of the game fun once you've played it a bunch of times. Like, how can I still keep that opening of the game engaging and keep the balance right? Like, there's just so many things to think about.
Yeah, I think like number one, when I think about like what's going to make people have fun playing a game, a lot of it comes down to just how the characters move. Like, how is like the most like basic action of moving from point A to point B. Like, how does that feel? How does that work? Like, that's like should be like your number one considerations. And like, if I'm looking at a trailer for a game and I'm like, I don't know if I want to play it, I'll always look for like a scene of a character just walking down a hallway. And like,
yeah,
if it looks like fun, if they're just like going down that hallway, even if they could be like pinballing across like over the walls, or there could be like something interesting like to look at on the walls, like a little bit of storytelling there. But like, if it's not like interesting or engaging just to like move in a game, it's usually not going to be the best experience, I find. So I like, even with this game, like I try to make the movement, which is not like terribly expressive or engaging, you're just moving like point to point, but like I keep that like as crisp as possible.
Yeah, it feels like there's like a nice like I don't know, your characters have like a nice like hop to them that
Yeah.
like it feels like, yeah, even though it's a turn-based game, it feels like there's a little action when you press like the button to like confirm your movement. It's like you get that satisfying feeling of like, yeah, I moved, even though you're just literally moving a tile away, but it's like, yeah, do it.
Just a little snappy hop, like just a little bit of spring in your step to be
Yeah.
like, this is a character that I like. Like, they're just hopping from square to square.
Yeah, they got a little personality to them, even though there's like not really much animation to like the
No,
actual like
no.
walk movement or whatever, but it's just like, yeah, there's just a little spring in the step.
Yeah, there's even less animation, I guess, than Hack has. Like, these are all just sort of front-facing sprites that like can swing their swords and stuff in multiple directions, but they're always sort of just like facing towards the camera as just a little representation of what's going on. But I feel like people notice that less when the game's like really cooking. So
Yeah. I like how you can like attack around certain corners, but you can't necessarily walk around
yeah, the
corners.
yeah the moving like diagonally, you can't move if there's like a wall in the way, so you got to kind of navigate that. But you're safe if you got someone who's like just like diagonal from you, but there's a wall protecting you. This, yeah.
And I like how it's like clear out the enemy. Like, I don't know, you're like you got to do a little exploring, but it's not just like, oh, you got to get to the end of the level. It's just like, okay, once you clear all the enemies out, you're golden.
Yeah. So this started as a very traditional like Hack or Beneath Phelan Wood style roguelike, but I put the limitation on myself that I wanted this to be phone playable, which is why it's all mouse.
Okay.
And I was going through like these levels of like this, like it was one of the best like dungeon generators I ever wrote, and I didn't get a chance to use it because it just didn't work with the vision I had for the game.
Yeah.
So that'll probably pop up somewhere later. But like, I was just like going through these like huge like dungeons with like secret doors and like little like treasure stuff and like ambush points. And I'm just like walking around, and I'm like, sucks. Like it's not it's it's not good. Like it's not fun to walk around here. So I'm like, okay, I gotta really limit like the amount of just walking. And then I'm like, but that's not what this dungeon is. This dungeon's just a big empty place to walk around and sort of appreciate stuff. But the pixels aren't like giving you anything cool to look at while you do it, and there's no like expressive way to like hop around as you're walking without breaking the turn-based nature of it. So it's like, did I just make a shitty game? Like, do I just like keep making a game that's not very shitty? I'm like, well, the combat's good. And then I'm like, well, why don't I just make it one room each? Like every single room is a combat encounter, and moving is a super crucial decision. Like you're saying, like you were nervous to move. Like
Right,
that,
right. Well, it's like, yeah, you're just juggling. Okay, is it worth it to attack? And then again, because you don't have to necessarily be in range to attack or within one tile, because you might be able to throw something. So it's like,
right.
I don't know. It's just okay. Strange mirror. Let's see what Trudeau look at their reflection here.
Yeah. What
War,
does she see?
Warcry deals damage to foes. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the ear splitter. Okay, and then the steel skin. Okay.
I find Warcry to be pretty busted.
As in, like, not, it doesn't work, or it's overpowered.
It's pretty powerful. So you can so anytime someone's like like one of those mages is casting a spell, you can just do a yell near them and they'll automatically take 1 damage and it'll break their concentration.
Oh, one of these mages here, you mean?
Yeah, yeah. So if they have the little like loading thing above their head, that means they're casting. You can just click on yourself, do your weight, and then do a shout.
Okay.
I think I find it to be pretty powerful because there are a lot of caster type enemies coming up in the last leg of the game. So
Okay. Let's take a few pot shots at these sorcerers here.
yeah, this sorcerer fight, this this was definitely like a culmination of me working on a lot of different like AI things, like getting the casting AI to be like interesting and a little unpredictable, combined with like their sort of like aggression AI to like put you in different scenarios, and also they move around when they hit you, and so this whole like boss fight is you kind of trying to corner these two like really slippery enemies as they're like, if they get a spell off on you, it sucks. Ooh, but you have the red hood, so you're like taking less fire damage. So
Are they fire sorcerers here?
yeah, the little red beam they do at you, that's a fire attack.
Okay. Oh, is this a little frog enemy over here?
Oh, you got a little gilded gob over there. So
Oh yeah, goblin. Yeah. I guess that makes more sense than a frog, given the setting of the game.
If I put I promise you, I would not do frog slander like that. I'd make a friend frog first.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it's got to be a friend. Or it feels more fitting for like forager, like a frog you might find and like tells you a secret about the mushrooms or something.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like frogs and cats and stuff, some are friend shaped. I try not to do too much bat slander either, because there's some cute bats out there.
Yeah, they are pretty cute. They can be like scary, but just because they like swoop out of nowhere. They're not like scary in and of themselves, but they're just like, oh man, where did that come from?
Oh, they might be casting at you from the shadows.
Oh, they definitely are. Okay. Oh. Did I auto use like an equip item, or did I just, or not equip, a repair item, repair kit, or did that, I couldn't tell if I picked that up or.
I think your sword broke.
Ah, that's right. Okay.
If I'm judging from the,
I think
from
you're
what I'm seeing 30 seconds ago, yeah.
Yeah, I think you are definitely correct. Okay, so I gotta get another better weapon in my hand.
This could be an interesting fight. You've got the fire resistance, but you're down a character. You lost a weapon, but you've got others. Like, I'm interested to see if you pull this one off.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm like, I don't know how much damage I've done to that sorcerer yet.
Meanwhile, I'm like, did I give players too much health? Is there not enough health? Like, I'm still trying to like calculate like what the right like mix of stats and stuff is, which is a problem that will never be solved.
Right. Somebody's always gonna be too good at the game, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you think, like, oh, this game's pretty hard, and then you watch a speedrunner play, and you're like, what in the fuck? Like, I didn't even know you could do that in this game.
Yeah, there's a hack speedrunner, Eyelash Wish, who showed me some speedrun strats for the game. Like, that was an incredible day for me, because for the first time, I was not the best hack player in the world. Like, someone else had taken the crown. They had figured out the game better than me. That was, like, the coolest thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, that's got to be a little bit surreal. Just like, man, I made this, and I didn't even know you could, like, do these tricks in the game or whatever.
Yeah, he showed me this trick where if in hack, if you're near a shop, you can drop. Normally there's like a screen door that keeps the bosses, that keeps the enemies out of the shop, so you can run in and be safe from the enemies. But if you drop an item in the screen door, it'll prop the door open. And then enemies can walk right in, and the shop owner, being an ally, will absolutely annihilate them for you.
That's awesome. I love that little touch. Okay, do I want to investigate the body of a mangled dwarf? Okay, I gotta investigate this.
You gotta investigate that mangled body. Also, great job on that fight, dude.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised I got out of there, but I got a couple, because I was starting to whiff those swipes on that sorcerer regularly. I was like, oh man, am I gonna be able to get a hit in? Like, I was thinking, like, maybe it's like dodging this particular weapon or something. But deeper into the sanctum we go.
There we go. Yeah, so that little scene, we got a little insight onto what our what dark deeds are happening deep in this fortress.
Yeah, I love the just like sense of mystery and like the little story bits. Again, it's not easy to like incorporate that kind of like those narrative bits. So actually, real quick, so if I'm trying right now, I'm Trudel. Am I able to take a weapon or an item from Bardo, or does Bardo have to give that item to Trudel?
You can, if you swap over to Bardo, you or to Trudel, whoever you're trying to do stuff to, you'll notice like when you have an item selected, it'll say "give" underneath one of your underneath the little character portraits on the left.
Okay, but I can't take an item from.
No, he has to give it to you.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So I go to the inventory, pick it, and then
there'll be a little under where it says Bardo. It'll be like give Bardo.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. And then this zone is totally different. Got a little more color going on.
Yep. Little I guess shout out to Beneath Phalenwood, which also had like a red third zone.
Okay.
It used to be stark white, but it wasn't very readable that way. And I think the red makes it just a little like gaudier and weirder. After like the muted like gray of the last zone and the brown of the zone before that, like having just a zone that's pure red sort of just makes it seem like off in a way that I really liked. Also, the yellow and the red together are just like so gaudy.
I like it. Yeah, and it kind of like looks like a little bit like I don't know if like it's poison, but it's some kind of like it's like what's that like that symbol for like if something's like toxic or something, like it just kind of reminds me a little bit of that.
Yeah, it just feels wrong.
Yeah, like it's corrupted or something or.
Yeah, I wanted to do something because Elden Ring does all this cool stuff with colors, where they make yellow this sort of villainous, like gold is this villainous color, and I'm like, that's really fun. Apparently yellow is the #1 hated color among people as well.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah,
I will say,
color, it's likely yellow.
Anytime I've ever bought a t-shirt, I've bought a couple t-shirts in my life that are yellow that I'm like, when I buy them, I'm like, this shirt is so cool. Like it just has like, like some graphic tee or whatever. But then like when I wear it, I'm like, I look like a fucking idiot in this shirt. Like I just can't. I've bought quite a few yellow shirts in my life that I've ended up never wearing out in public because I'm just like, I hate how I look in this shirt, but I still like the shirt, or I like the band, or I like the whatever.
There might just be a like weird like trans-cultural bias against the color yellow. That's like some evolutionary step that's protecting us from something.
Maybe the sun. Everybody just hates the sun. Who loves the sun? Nobody.
I mean, I'm sick of that guy for sure.
Yeah, these days for sure, man. I don't know how the weather's been over in Boston, but in Chicago it has been hot, to say the least.
Pretty toasty. Pretty toasty.
Yeah, not my kind of weather. I'm somebody who gets pretty hot if it's even like 75 degrees, so.
Oh yeah. Remember, you can do the long-range equip if you throw a weapon. If Barda like whips a weapon at Trudel.
Oh yeah.
She'll put it in open hand.
I totally forgot about that.
Well, it's not like the game tells you. That's just a weird hidden mechanic. Oh, later, Hadley. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for hanging, Hads. I just read the name. I'm like, Hads, like as if I know. I was saying even earlier. I think I said Kev at one point when I was talking to you, and I'm like, I hate like acting like using a nickname or something, you know.
I used to hate being called Kev, but like honestly, it doesn't. I don't know if you have a preference being a fellow Kevin.
It's funny. I've the same. It used to bug me kind of like I'd be like, oh, you don't know me, like whatever. And now I'm just like, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah. I'm just I'm happy to hang out with a cool person. I don't really mind what I'm called.
Yeah, I've bartended long enough to just learn like, okay, people are gonna call me Kev. It's inevitable. So.
Yeah. And I honestly really don't mind being called Kev.
It's not bad. It's like, and it's always anytime anybody's using it, it's usually like used in like a term of endearment kind of way. It's like I'm like, oh, somebody likes me enough to like use a nickname. So.
Yeah. It's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like in my early 20s, it'd be like, what? You don't have enough time to say Kevin?
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird how you just randomly decide like, this is gonna bother me, like for no reason, because there's that. Yeah, nobody ever like said it with any stink on their like voice, like Kev, you know.
But then you get a little older, and some stuff bothers you worse, and it's like.
Yeah, and you're like, you know what, Kev's not so bad. Actually, it almost makes me smile.
Yeah.
This is cool. So are there just the 3 classes in the game total?
There are actually 4.
Okay.
I don't know if we're at the prison already. So you actually don't get to pick your third character. The game just sort of decides. So you're going to see the 4th character, Nud, is one of my favorites. He's all about casting magic with his runes, and he also brings a little cat familiar with him, which is another Super Try staple.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I almost got a little bit of that Blink Blanc character, even just with like the black outline, the yellow eyes.
Yep, you're gonna get if you open up a Super Try game, there's like a 40 to 50% chance there's gonna be a little black cat in there somewhere.
That feels just feels appropriate.
It's just the brand. I love my cat, and I love putting her in my video games.
Okay, so to cast magic, what do I need to do?
So you go to your inventory and you open up that rune, and you hit use, and when you do that, you'll begin casting. And if you're hit while you're casting, your concentration will break, and you'll basically waste a turn. But if you're allowed enough time to like stand back and cast at a distance, you're never gonna miss.
Okay, never gonna miss?
Never gonna miss.
Okay, that's crazy talk, but that's awesome.
Yeah, it just takes up 2 turns and you can't be hit in between.
Yeah, which I thought I was gonna get hit there, but I guess not. I actually got that one off.
Get that evade.
Yeah, definitely got lucky there. I was like, oh, I did, like literally as soon as you said, oh, but you gotta wait until you get like cast from a distance. I'm like 1 tile away. Oh, that was not the right move.
Yeah. Tickmen, like the one you're up against here, are another recurring enemy in my games. There are Tickmen in Hack and Beneath Phelan Wood, and in some of the actual play podcasts I do, my PCs have gone up against Tickmen. I just think that Tick is the grossest thing in the entire world. Like.
Yeah, they are kind of, they're pretty nasty.
I can't think of anything more horrible than like a person-sized tick, so.
Unless it's on Super Nintendo. Although yes, I don't know, was that game any good?
Oh, the tick, it's it's fine. It's just a regular beat 'em up.
Yeah.
It's no River City Ransom. Few things are.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Totally
But,
fair.
I do like the Tick. I just don't like ticks in general, or tick men.
Yeah, even worse. Yeah.
I suppose there could be a chill vegan tick man out there who's just trying to do his best, but
Yeah.
I haven't met him.
This is crazy. Like, there are a lot of enemies on this stage.
Yeah, and you got a lot of stuff going on by the end. Like, once that third character gets in there, I feel like the game is sort of topped out in terms of complexity.
Yeah, but I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move over here.
There's a fun boss at the end of this game. I think I really just sort of slapped a lot of like other mechanics together to make the boss, and I was like, this is fun. So I'm happy with the final boss, which I'm almost. It's surprisingly hard to make final bosses for like turn-based games and roguelikes like this.
I
Like,
bet
it's,
even bosses in general are. I just feel like kind of hard to. Because it's sometimes like it's just changing up the mechanics that you would otherwise be using throughout the rest of the game. So it's just like, I don't know, it could just be it can sometimes be weird. Like, I know a lot of people love like Dead Cells, and that's like a game where like I like playing through the levels in the games, but then as soon as I get to a boss, I'm like, man, it feels like these bosses were just not designed to be fought with the combat in this game. Like, I really, it's not broken, but to me, I'm just like, man, this is just not fun to play in the slightest. Once you get to that point,
it's super hard to find that balance of like, here's something new and interesting,
right?
And also it's paced out well, and you've also already kind of seen it, so you know,
like you know what to do, but you don't.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Like, you should know what to do, and the question should be like how to go like about it. And with like roguelikes and stuff like that, like that can be really challenging making bosses because you know the mechanics are so rigid. It's not like you can like throw in like a whole new puzzle aspect,
right,
or like action aspect or something.
Or like this boss does this movement that you have to dodge. It's more like yeah, just a little different. Oh, that's a cool little tango mechanic.
Yeah, tango, and yeah, that's just one of those things where I'm like, oh, it'd be cool. There's like a concept in improv called yes and
yeah.
Like, I would like to put that in my games as well, where it's like, if you could like have two things interact, like why do just like the, you know, the yes, I accept that they interact. Like, you could do a thing where, like, you know, if you move into a creature and it's got nowhere to go, they swap places, because if they didn't, it would feel really bad and potentially break the game. So that's like the yes part. But then, like, what if it did something else cool as well? Because you have this interaction happening anyway, you might as well make it interesting. So like throwing and you do a cool attack if there's an enemy there. Like, that opens up, like, you know, some kind of puzzlier or like just like tactical options, and it just, again, it's a fun way to move around the
yeah, it's like another option that, like, yeah, like you said, it gives it that puzzly feel, but like without, like, it's not like the solutions are puzzle based in the sense that, like, you have to, the familiar cat gets increased stats, yeah, you better believe it.
Buff cat,
you know it. Can't pass up on that. But I really need to give Trudel some weapons here.
Oh yeah.
Let's give the pickaxe. Okay, there we go. Give. Okay. I was thinking I had to click move and then give, but it's just give. And that doesn't take a turn to give. Interesting.
Yeah, you can just swap over as many times. It takes a turn to equip, but just giving it over.
Nice. That's cool.
I am occasionally benevolent.
Very occasionally.
Sometimes I'll cut you a break.
That's awesome. But it, like you said, it's got to be so hard to get that balance right on a roguelike, because you're like, it's supposed to be hard as hell, but
yeah,
you know, but like, you don't want to like have people play it the first time, be like, okay, this game's way too hard, and never play it again.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I've kind of softened in my age and experience where it's sort of like at this point I just kind of rather people have fun, like I've been saying, like, you know,
Yeah.
even if you don't super understand it, like I'd like you to, you know, maybe have a sense of accomplishment or victory or something. So I guess I default, like, in my head I default it to it being easy, but then I put it in front of someone and they're like, this is the hardest shit I've ever had to make.
Right.
So I really don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the process of how you like really balance a game out. But I don't know. There's I was thinking about how I forget which game I was playing, but like basically it had this philosophy of everything's a tutorial. Like you never stop doing the tutorial for the game. It's just everything should be teaching you something or introducing something new, and when you explore that mechanic, you're just teaching it. So the whole game is essentially a long tutorial, and only at the end, like you open it up to be like, now show me what you've learned.
Right.
And I've tried to like follow that, but it's a really hard one to break from because I just want to let people go. Like I just want people to, you know, swim forever.
Well, and like you were saying, like kind of like let people put their own little twist or their play style on a game, and like, you know, have to learn, you know, how to either lean into that play style or maybe, you know, because I tend to like play games in a way that I'm like trying to brute force my way around or like just not being patient. Like, so I like when a game like makes me go, oh, wait a second, you can't play your normal way that you tend to play games. Like, you got to actually be a little more, you got to pay attention to the dialogue and like learn the story bits as they come along, you know?
Yeah, like here's a wrench in the works. Now figure it out, genius.
Exactly.
Um, but no, thank you for your enthusiasm in below.
Yes.
You can play it on my if you subscribe to my Patreon at givekevinmoney.com. You indeed can play this game right now if you'd like. If you give me $1, you can play the browser version, and if you give me $5, you can play the EXE. Plus, you get access to all of the other EXEs that I've done, and there are over, I think, 15.
Well, there's at least a dozen from 2020. Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Think of the value.
Well worth your investment, I would say, to say the least.
I hope so. I really try to make it the Patreon worthwhile for folks, but you know, in the end, I hope you like. I hope it's not just like a transactional sort of thing. I hope you like support me because like you like the stuff I make and you think I'm kind of cool and you want to like hang out.
Yeah, like, hey, Kevin seems like a nice guy and I'd like to see him continue to keep making games. So, you know, and I'd like to help be part of that process to a degree, you know, and even in the case of like Outfox, you even got like a little feedback on like, you know, from those people like, hey, I don't have a team of playtesters per se, but I do have a team of people that are interested in the games I make. So like,
totally,
you know, it's definitely, there's something to be said about that for sure.
Yeah, it's just you know, I want to make everything worthwhile for folks, obviously because you know times is hard.
Yeah,
I know that especially well. But you know, I'm just a weird little man who lives in Boston and wants to make games about his adorable that wants to make like these weird games that include his adorable cat and
whenever possible. Get that cat in there.
Exactly. So
cat's saving my ass right now on some of these attacks here.
Yeah, Sparkle Bean's putting in work.
Oh, give me that rune. Come on. Okay, there we go.
Oh man, I can't wait to see this. I'm still 30 seconds behind. Are you still blind?
No. I can see now. I don't know for how much longer, but
oh boy.
I think I'm down to the last enemy on this screen. Oh, now I'm blind. Oh no, but dead. Not me. The enemies. We plug along. Managed to find something of value. Okay, stone sword, shield rune, or meat. Oh man, I feel like I should probably get the meat. Oh, I already have 3 meat though. With Bardo. How did I not know that? Okay. Well then maybe I want the shield rune.
Bardo's just been pocketing that meat.
Yeah, letting it
Just stock it up.
turn rotten, turning into jerky in Bardo's pocket over there.
Get him
Let's
to
see.
share.
Shield
I think-
rune, who do I want? Maybe we give it to Trudel, because Trudel's in rough shape here.
Yeah.
Okay, glittering treasures line the hall. Oh, stun rune or magic boots? Let's go magic boots.
Nice. I would recommend putting them on Nud.
Okay.
Because with magic boots, whenever you get hit, you teleport away.
Okay, nice. And then does that... Do I have to go in the menu and equip those, or...?
No, when they're dropped in your inventory, it auto-equips.
Nice.
There aren't a lot of weapons that have downside, so in general, if you get a piece of equipment, it'll just slap it on you.
Nice. I like that a lot. I like how there's there's little things that like you might need to do this thing to...
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait, do I want to investigate or to arms? Oh man.
Knowing
you, I might be able to run away.
Right, but investigate will give you the story beat, and to
Oh.
arms will just skip the cutscene essentially.
Okay, yeah, we got to get a little flavor text here.
Yeah, get a little of that Magic the Gathering flavor text on.
Yeah, I grew up on playing some Magic the Gathering as well, so yeah, there's like just enough of that RPG stuff with like, again, like I just don't have the patience to play like a 40 or 50 or 30 or however long an RPG is, so like these more bite-sized roguelikes are just, this is what I'm here for, basically.
Yeah, that's my dad's jam, is the big, long, like 60 to 120 hour RPGs. He'll like make a whole year out of playing one RPG.
I definitely get it. Like, I mean, if that's your jam, I can't blame you. Okay, let's eat some food. This music is so good. Jeez.
Yeah. Joe's like, I have like another weird, like incongruous track, and I'm like, that's wild, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just listening to being like, I have no idea what to do with this, and I'm like, it's freaky though. I'm putting it for the final boss.
It's got that funk and like those like kind of couple like sour notes here and there, intentionally sour, of course.
Yeah. He's just kind of letting loose after being like gentle and atmospheric.
Yeah, the way the music has built up throughout this whole process or this whole like game is awesome.
Yeah. It's I'm always really psyched to see Joe's work come alive, and I try to support his music with my gameplay as best I can. Like I really like try to take that seriously of trying to bring out the best of Joe's music, because I'm just such a big fan of Joe in general.
Yeah. See, he just seems like a fantastic person to have in your wing, basically, or in your corner.
Yeah, he's a good friend too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not just because of his musical abilities.
Yeah.
And again, that's just so cool that like you've been able to keep like creating stuff with like your high school friends and just the group of friends you have. Like that's so cool that like you've continued to be able to be creative with the same, group of folks for so long. Like, it's not often that you get to keep teaming up with someone like that,
Yeah, and I definitely appreciate the rarity of it, for sure. Especially working on this book for the past almost 3 years, this tabletop RPG. That's been a collaboration between me and Hadley and our friends Brian Townsend and Brian Shepard. And again, just 4 friends who all went to the same high school together, who all want to find ways to be creative in their 30s.
Yeah.
Is basically what Supertron has become, is just... me with my incredibly creative and talented friends trying to make something cool.
Yeah, how can we make this work and keep like, and again, like find like the right balance, which easier said than done, but finding a good balance between like being creative and hanging out with your friends and like, because it's tough to work on stuff with your friends, being someone who's like played in bands with friends and stuff. Like it's pretty easy to like take stuff personally and like, you're just like, we definitely had many discussions where it's like, hey, like if somebody's making a suggestion about the song, like it's just something that they think might make the song better. It doesn't mean that they think you suck at bass. It doesn't mean that, there's just, but it's so easy to take that stuff personally when you came up with something creative and you're like, hey, I like this, and somebody else is like, I don't think that's that good of an idea. Like, it's hard to just move on from that and like take that to heart without taking it personally, you know?
Yeah, we sort of get around that by basically we treat every it's easier in games where like instead of being a collection of musicians, and I know like every instrument is very different and like people have different ears and all that, but like basically anyone who like is taking a job is the director of that position. Like when Hadley's writing, they're the writing and narrative director. And Joe is the music director, and I'm the gameplay director. And like if I have Brian Shepard doing art, he's the art director. And no director has power over any of the other directors. We can be like, hey, I like that, or hey, I'm not so sure about that. But if I see a piece of art and I'm like, I'm not so sure about that, I'm not the art director. It's not my call. There's no like one person who has like ultimate power over the vision. Joe doesn't give me any input on gameplay most of the time. He'll say if he likes something and he'll offer up his feedback, and I always consider it, and usually he has something interesting to say.
Right.
So I listen to him.
Right.
But like, he's not the gameplay director. I'm the gameplay director. And
right. If
I'm not
you
the
end
music
up
director.
Right. If you end up disagreeing, you're like, okay, like I hear what you're saying, but like I'm gonna stick to my guns on this one. Or like, hey, yeah, I hear what you're saying, and yeah, good decision. I am gonna implement that or take that out or whatever.
Yeah, and even when Joe gives me a music track that is wild and like does like I have no idea what to do with it, I don't say, hey, change it. I'm like, what can I do as the gameplay director to make this music fit?
Yeah.
And that has given me some of the best like moments in my games, is being like, okay, I can't control the music, but I can control the gameplay. Like, what do I make? And most of the time, I don't want to be able to control the music. I just believe in Joe so much. Like, he just knows better than me when it comes to music, and I don't want to be like, hey, could you make this a little more melodic so it sounds like Mega Man? Like, I try not to do that too much.
Right,
Just kind of let him go.
Yeah, I do think it does tend to, just leaning into, like, embracing, because, there were a lot of times, again, just because music is my main frame of reference, like, a lot of times I would come to band practice with, like, a song idea, and then I would kind of have an idea for, like, how the drums might sound in my head or something, and then, like, our drummer would play something totally different, and I'm like, what the heck are you doing, man? Like, this isn't right. But then the more we played it, I'm like, actually, this just made this song, like, way cooler and gave it, like, a different energy that it didn't have before. Oh, no. Game over.
You gotta trust the people. No, I saw you were down to one guy. But dying on the boss is not so bad. And plus now people are teased properly for below.
Yeah, I'm not terribly disappointed with my performance there. And I like,
great.
That's one thing I really love about this experience, after just playing it a little bit. Like, a lot of times, like, again, not to, like, I'm not trying to shit on Dead Cells or anything, even though I'm not the hugest fan of that game, but, like, one thing that bugged me about that game as well, and a ton of roguelikes do this too, where you have to, like, kind of go through and grind, and, like, really your first, like, almost 10 or maybe 20, even 30 runs might be totally meaningless almost, because you technically don't even have, like, the items you need to get through the game to beat it, you know? Where this is, like, I feel like, other than the fact that you do kind of have to go through the motions and learn the rules a little bit, but, like, if I would have known the rules off the bat, I feel like I pretty much could have won on my first run if the cards, fell in my favor and I didn't make any dumb decisions. It's probably not going to happen, but I didn't feel like I lost because I was just like, oh, I had no chance to win. It was just like, oh, I didn't learn all the rules for, like, these mechanics yet.
Yeah, I like the meta progression of you learning something in the game over, like, you getting avatar strength throughout the game.
Exactly, yeah. Like, because otherwise you're just grinding. It's no different than, like, a JRPG when you, like, hit a wall and you're just like, okay, I gotta just go through the motions. Like, once a game makes me feel like I'm just going through the motions, I'm usually ready to move on to the next game. Like, I'm just, like, again, back to, like, there's so many games out there. I'm like, okay, I got what I wanted to get out of that game. Now it's time to, just move on to something else that's interesting, if this game feels like it's overstayed its welcome at that point,
Totally, but I feel like the reason why that doesn't happen a lot is because and we saw this with Hack a lot, where Hack is very dependent on you like learning little things and increasing your knowledge of the game as you play it. Um, I, uh, I sort of found that experienced roguelike players would just like fucking smash through the game, and then they'd
Right.
be a little bamboozled and be like why did I did I just beat it? And like, well, technically you did beat it at like the lowest difficulty level, and
Right.
you may have gotten a little lucky, but it was really hard to put like there's no hour estimate on Hack. It's just like you beat it when you beat it. Some people have put like lots and lots of hours into it and haven't beat it but still like it, and some people have like beat it in 2 hours and have been like, okay, I'm never gonna play this again.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like with the meta progression, with like the mechanical meta progression, you can better have a sense of how long the game is going to take place. And people like, for whatever reason, they think they super care about the amount of hours the game is going to take up.
I
So
never understand that. I know. I used to be that way too. Like,
yeah,
not even necessarily be that way, but I would like see like, oh, hey, they said the new Zelda game's gonna be 100 hours, and I'd get like excited about it. And now
yeah,
I think about it, and I'm like, oh, I literally see like if a game is double digits hours, I'm like, nope, not gonna even bother because I just know I'm never gonna finish it. And that's not to say that I don't spend double digits on certain games, like, but it's usually a game like this that'll pull me in for like 20, 30, 40 hours, like that it's just replayable, but the run itself doesn't necessarily take anywhere near that long, you know?
right.
But yeah, like if I am almost like run away when I see a game says it's like 50 hours. I'm like, even 30, even like I said, even 10. Like honestly, for me, like 3 to 5 hours is like probably, if it's like a singular kind of experience kind of game that you're not meant to replay. Like I
Mhm.
usually don't have the patience to spend more than like 3 or 5 hours with the game, just because there's a million other games sitting in the back of my head always that I'm like, oh, but I want to try that too, and I want to play this, and you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I eventually had to just uninstall Elden Ring, and I love Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring's really really fun, but
yeah.
I put like 200 hours into it, and I'd like to see my friends and live, and the Elden Ring kept me out of trouble for 200 hours, and I'll be forever grateful to that. But like, there are other games, like there's new stuff to play, and I found myself like it felt like I drank like a gallon of milkshake, where I was like, this is so good, but I've had so much of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally feel you there. I feel like, yeah, just all the thought and like decisions you make on the design end of things are just like really really well thought out, and like again, just incorporating stuff that doesn't even necessarily have to do with game design, but like everything has to do with game design in one way or another. When you think about it, you're like, oh, I can
Yeah,
incorporate that into my game, oh, weird, wouldn't have thought
yeah,
about that.
yeah, yeah. Taking stuff from real life is I feel like important to making games, and I'm starting next tomorrow actually. I'm gonna be attempting to do the Game Maker Toolkit Jam.
Oh,
So
nice. I'll definitely be keeping my eyes on that. I'm hoping to do like a stream. Like I like doing it with that one and like Ludum Dare, just because there's like so many game jam entries that it's like, okay, I can probably find a bunch of cool games in here,
hmm
just because
hmm
it's inevitable with so many people participating. So
yeah, yeah. I've found that there are some awesome entries. It is a grueling 48 hours though. Like
yeah,
it's pretty rough. I much prefer the week long jam. So I'm 33 now, and I might not want to stay up for 48 hours straight making video games. So we'll see if I will have a game by the end of this month, but we'll see if I make it in 2 days or if I just kind of chill out a little
yeah.
bit.
Sometimes I like when some people are just like, I started, like somebody actually finished their game that they started for the Pursuing
Oh,
Pixels
that's
game
nice.
jam. Like they
Yeah.
were like, what, I didn't have time to finish it during the time, but I liked the idea that I had, so like I decided not to leave it on the table. So yeah, whether it's like a post jam update or just like something that you're like, hey, or even if you don't end up working on that game per se, but like, oh man, that actually sparked an idea that I didn't have before because of the theme of the jam or because of whatever, like, okay, now I got something to work on, or even if it's just, hey, I got that out of my system now, and now I don't have to try to make this game that I thought was cool, but it doesn't really work,
Yeah, yeah, it takes the pressure off for sure. And sometimes you need the pressure to make something like extraordinary, but
Yeah,
sometimes you need to go and get a beer with a friend, or like,
yeah,
visit your mom, or watch like like a couple episodes of an anime or something. Like, I don't know.
So true.
I think if we're trying to like reject crunch culture in the indie sphere, like maybe we need to rethink game jams. And I like the 1 week structure a lot.
Yeah.
I did come up with an idea for a jam called Honor Jam, where you have to log all of your hours that you work.
Okay.
And you have an upper limit, and you're just kind of on your honor to like finish your game and submit your timesheet at the end.
I like that.
Being like, I did 20 hours of work over 6 months on this one game, and this is the end product. And I wish I could work on it more, but I can't do it. And
I almost feel like
that might work.
I almost feel like that might even be helpful for like a lot of indie devs that are doing it kind of as like a hobby on the side in like their spare time. That could be a way to be like, okay, hey, this is what I can feasibly get done in a week's worth of time, spending this many hours. So like, okay, hey, if I dedicate that much time every week to working on the game, like this is what I could get done. It could actually be helpful in like, just to like scope things out maybe.
It'll definitely help you. Like a lot of my friends who have like 9 to 5s are like, I could never be a freelancer. I was always like dog shit at doing homework.
Yeah.
Like, that is what freelancing is. It's just giving yourself homework. I think this is that jam idea could be a good like training tool for being like, okay, this is like, if you're doing freelance stuff, then you have to count your hours, and like you're only getting paid so much. So this is what you're capable of. And I don't know. I think Honor Jam might eventually happen, but I have to like finish one of the other like 17,000 projects I'm working on.
Yeah, first. I can't even imagine being like, okay, I gotta I'm making all these games and hosting a jam on the side, like, and maybe participating in that jam, maybe or maybe not. But either way, it's just like, man, that's a lot.
Yeah, how was running the PPJJGG?
It was really fun. It was really, I was like a little bit nervous about it beforehand, just like worried that like, okay, well, I don't know what the turnout's going to be like. I don't know what, and it was just kind of blown away on every angle. And like, I don't know if we just got lucky or whatever, but just had just great, like everybody was just super supportive in the Discord, sharing progress. Like it really couldn't have gone smoother. I feel like I feel very fortunate for that. Like I don't want to take it for granted, but I'm just like, man, I feel like it just couldn't have gone better. I'm glad that I saw like a couple people that are developers in our Discord had mentioned in the past that like they had participated in jams that like didn't go as smoothly, and like in my head I was like, how does a jam not go smoothly? Like how could you mess that up as a host? It seems like it's not that difficult, especially somebody who's not making a game. But they were just like, that like whoever in that jam that they were talking about like wasn't communicating when people had questions, and so like as soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, well, let me just make sure that I'm available, like set up a bunch of Discord channels, just basically have whatever people need as much as possible, and like just communicate. Having the jam be kind of like low stakes and low key and no real like prizes helped too, because it was just like, okay, this is just kind of for fun.
The prizes thing is always pretty fraught, I feel.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, what am I going to do? Give you a $30 gift card for Amazon or something? It's like, let's just do it for the fun of the games, It's like, sure, $30 is nice, but like, I don't know, it just feels like a little bit like unnecessary, I guess, for what we were doing. Like, I would love to have some prizes, or have, like, we actually, our buddy who participated in the jam, who made Pumpkin Planet, or it had a longer name, like Bounty of the Pumpkin Planet.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Really cool game, and they have a couple other games called Skeleton Scramble, and they basically just gave a bunch of copies of their games to like anybody who placed in like the top 3 in every category. I was like, geez, cool. You didn't have to go like above and beyond. Like I had mentioned, I was like, oh, we don't have any prizes, and they're like, hey, I'll give up all my games. I was like, geez, man. You didn't have to do that, but very generous. But that just that's just like a perfect example of like how cool the community was, and just like, oh, hey, like, and now it's like, we've kind of grew the Discord community that we had quite a bit just from hosting that jam. So
it'd be kind of cool to like, because you have a couple of game dev connects, like you could just ask for keys or something and be like, does anyone want to like contribute their keys to the pot for like the jam. Like that
Yeah.
might be a fun little way to have people promote their games at the same time making their games like the prize for the jam. Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
I even thought about doing something like that, like maybe having some people that like have some like work on assets and stuff like that. Like be
Mm.
like, oh, have like, you know, you like have your asset pack available, or even like use the asset pack in the
Yeah.
jam or something. Like, you know, oh, okay, you don't have anything, like, you know, work
Yeah.
on use this pixel art or this tile set here or whatever, this music or
Yeah.
but yeah, it really was like I kept kind of putting it off. Like I had a few people ask me over
Mhm.
the years, like, "Oh, you should host a jam," and I was like, I don't know, And especially yeah, when you see like Game Maker's Toolkit and it's like the biggest game jam in the history of game jams, you're like, okay, maybe I don't need to host my own game jam. But
Right,
yeah, we
right.
had an amazing turnout. Like I seriously thought it was maybe gonna be like 20, 30 people signed up, and we had 200 people sign up, 50
Yeah,
games get submitted. It was crazy.
it was a big hit.
Yeah, I really am looking forward to doing the next one. The plan was like, okay, we'll do it for a 3-year anniversary with the intention of, you know, hopefully doing it for the 4-year anniversary again. So, and like it went so well that I'm like, oh man, is there a way we can make this a biannual thing? But again, there's so many game jams. I'm like, there's no need to overdo it. Like if it ends up working out some way to do it biannually in the future, cool. But like, no need to like go out and force it. Like we got to do another one right away. Like, you know, just savor how awesome the experience was, as opposed to like doing it and rushing to do it again, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was really awesome, and again, the talent pool of people that submitted games, and yeah, I was just blown away. It's really cool to see like a lot of those games getting turned into like full releases or just like a post jam update, or really cool stuff.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun on that game jam, and yeah, it was definitely one that I felt like I could really think about like my project on, and it didn't feel like it was too competitive because the GMTK jam was pretty competitive.
Yeah,
Like,
it's hardcore. Just the
yeah.
number of people, and then again, the people that do get involved. It's like, oh man, there's some serious talent here.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's no joke.
Yeah, but you know, I think you've done a good job of like cultivating like a good vibe in your community, and you know, people seem genuinely like supportive of indie games rather than like, you know, not even like disrespectful, just like mean about like,
Yeah, like people can be like kind of dismissive of games
yeah,
sometimes. They're just like, oh, this looks like a rip off of this game or whatever. And like it's just,
right,
yeah, it seems
right,
like in our community, it's just like, yeah, people are just really kind of on a similar wavelength as me and you. You know, basically just like love video games, love cool mechanics, love
hmm,
just kind of like connecting over that stuff. Because yeah, I've had a friend here and there that like I could get into games with, but usually not somebody that I'm like can talk about with nonstop. So as much as the internet can be like, you can not necessarily blame it for a lot of the crap that's going on, but
right,
you can easily look back and be like, man, the internet kind of sucks. But it's also kind of
totally,
awesome that like, you know, I never would have stumbled across your stuff if the internet didn't exist, and we never would have connected. And you know, it's
yeah.
just a
There's silver lining.
lot of cool stuff that comes along with it, especially when it comes to making games.
Whew, we've been going for a while.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, how are you feeling on your end? I know we had obviously there's a million other games to play, but I'm feeling, yeah, we've been going for like 4 hours here.
Yeah,
Jeez.
we can definitely space that out to another stream sometime in the
Yeah.
future. This was so much fun, though.
Yeah, seriously, this was like beyond so much fun, like beyond a treat and pleasure. Again, like your company's just always like I always just enjoy talking to you and chatting, whether it's, you know, in text form online on Twitter here and there or whatever, or you know, like this on a podcast or on a chat. And like again, like I'm happy to return the favor in any possible way I can, because you're beyond generous to like send all these games our way and hang out with us literally half of the day. Like again, I was joking earlier when I mentioned taking up a full day's worth of your time, but we're pushing
I
it
know
now.
it really slipped away.
I know,
But,
yeah. I'm taking a full 24 hours away of your life by the time this is done.
oh man. Yeah. Anytime you want to do this again, I'm super down. Thank you
Yeah.
for supporting my games, and for like bringing you know, the light of curation onto these little indie games. I've found so many good games through Pursuing Pixels and cool developers. So thanks for doing what you're doing too.
I appreciate it, man. That means a lot, because I actually remember back when we first started doing this stuff, and shortly after I had like found your games and stuff, and maybe had like tagged you or whatever. But I remember like, you know, we had like we just kind of started, so like nobody even knew we had a podcast, nobody knew anything even existed. And I remember you making a comment, like just being like, somebody had made a tweet just like, hey, where do you find your cool indie games? And you were like, oh, I usually check like Giant Bomb or Pursuing Pixels or this. Like you tagged a couple people, and I was like, us and Giant Bomb? What? Excuse me? And this is the guy that made Hack? Like, what is happening?
I mean, talk about the stuff you like.
Exactly. I'm just like, there's no need. Again, on the podcast, we sometimes get into like nitpicking and, you know, the new Mario Strikers game. Yeah, that game kind of, you know, we'll nitpick stuff. But like for the most part, yeah, I'm bringing stuff to the table that I like. And then if I don't like it, I'll just move on to something else, because there's no need for me to spend my time on something that I'm not enjoying. So
I think that applies to game curation as well. If someone is doing a good job online bringing things into focus and finding the good stuff, then you got to support that, and you got to you got to talk about it, and maybe throw them a little bit of cash.
That means a ton. Yeah, that seriously means a ton. And yeah, I really love everything that you and the team over at Supertry are doing. It's just kind of insane. And this game is like honestly shaping up to be a potential favorite of the bunch. Again, I really have loved every game that y'all have ever made, but this is some fantastic stuff.
Thanks so much, man. I've been inspired by Puncake releasing their games
yes.
for like a low price point, and I think with a little more time in the oven, this might be ready for like a little bit of a retail product. But it is available right now at GiveKevinMoney.com. Once again, I've said that like 15 times, but like if you're watching this as like a recording or whatever,
I'll have links in there. I'll make sure to put links to the Patreon, your Patreon and stuff, and the itch.io page and everything, to where you can find the Supertry stuff.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah. Seriously, thanks again for spending so much time, for making cool games, for having cool friends to make games with you. Like I'm just reaping the rewards over here. Just like, oh man, Kevin's got all these cool people that he makes awesome stuff with, and I just get to enjoy it. It's pretty awesome.
Thanks so much for hanging out with me, man. Thanks for playing my stuff.
Yeah, appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Renaud, I don't know who else is still hanging in the chat, but yeah, thanks for hanging out with us tonight and checking out some Supertry games. Sorry we didn't get to Hack, even though I cheated and put Hack in the as what we're playing.
Eventually.
But yeah,
I'll give you the strats.
Exactly, because I need them. I need to even learn how to do crafting properly in that game. But yeah, thanks again for hanging out, everybody, and we will catch y'all soon. And again, we'll have links to where you can find anything and everything we checked out in this video in the video description if you're watching this after the fact. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody, and thanks again, Kev.
Thanks again, Kev.
To use the Kev, yeah. Sounds good. All right, yeah, take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody.